When I tell people that I made my own Palestinian thobe, I usually get one of two reactions. That's incredible, or that's incredible followed but why? The truth is, this dress took me nearly 2 years, over 70,000 stitches, and about 234 and a half hours to make. But what it gave me in return was so much more. Stay tuned to find out what. Hey tatreezers, it's Lena. In this video, we are diving into why I made my own thobe and what it taught me about heritage, patience, and the real value of handmade work. If you're new here, welcome. Whether you're just threading your first needle or you're stitching every single day, this channel is all about reclaiming Palestinian heritage by telling your story through tatreez and the art of thobe making. If that speaks to you, hit subscribe and let's begin. I've always known, in theory, that handmade takes time. That's kind of the point, right? Focus, attention to detail, the kind of care you can't rush. But knowing it is very different from living it. One of my first big tatreez projects was a 15 by 15 inch embroidered pillow. The tatreez design is a copy of one of the pillows my parents had bought in Ramallah over 22 years ago, but the colors are different. It was a gorgeous geometric pattern in shades of blue. I had just finished business school. I was in that limbo before starting a new job, and I was able to dedicate every waking moment to stitching. And when I say every waking moment, I mean every single one. My dad would walk by, shake his head, call me obsessed, and go about his day until the next moment he happened to walk by. Around week 4 of me meticulously stitching, there was a moment. It was about 3 p.m., my personal coffee and dessert time, and my dad was across from me sitting with his cup of coffee, watching me stitch. After a minute, he said, "Wow, we did not pay enough for that pillow." That was it, the moment that he truly understood the value of handmade tatreez. Not because I explained it, but because he witnessed the hours, the slowness, and the focus. And that moment planted a seed in me of how could I help other people understand that same value without them having to sit and watch me stitch for weeks. So when I decided to take on the ultimate tatreez project, a handmade Palestinian thobe, I knew I had to document it. Every stitch, every hour, every color. I started my Instagram account on October 11th, 2020 to document my experience, which was about a couple of weeks after beginning the journey, give or take. And I finished on September 4th, 2022. Almost 2 full years later. If you've been following me on Instagram during this time, then you might remember some of these moments. October 2020, a picture of me finding the fabric. We were deep in the pandemic. I was mostly indoors. And honestly, it was the perfect time to start what I knew would be such a profound project. Also, October 2020, I tested out the color palette on Ida fabric before, in my own words, embarking on the most epic tatreez of my life. I could already picture how the design would come together, stitch by stitch. November 2020, you see me wearing a practice thobe covered in pins, figuring out the fit. Every adjustment brought me one step closer to understanding how the pieces of this dress would finally come together. February 2021, a before and after photo of counting mistake that I had to undo, followed by smoothing the fabric so it didn't look all holed up. It was frustrating, but also a reminder of how forgiving and humbling the process can be. May 2021, a zoomed in photo next to where this small piece of embroidery sits in the grand scheme of the front panel design. From up close, it seemed really tiny, but in the bigger picture, it was proof of how this dress had become more than a project. It was a companion through an entire chapter of my life. These snapshots were my way of keeping myself accountable, but also of letting others peek into the rhythm of the process. The highs, the plateaus, the breakthroughs. And when I look back on them now, I can see not just the embroidery changing, but me changing alongside it. Here's what went into it. 5 embroidered panels, the ebbe or chest piece, the front panel, the back panel, and 2 sleeves. 5 colors, DMC 919, 959, 580, 762, and 922 for my tatreez nerds out there. The stitch counts, the ebbe was comprised of 13,602 stitches, the front panel 23,850 stitches, the back panel, 10,196 stitches, and the sleeves are comprised of 22,714 stitches with a total of 70,362 stitches, which is equivalent to about 234.5 hours. Now that's before the actual sewing, the fitting, the finishing. If you made it to this point in the video, please comment "I get it now," because you've seen firsthand how much time and love truly goes into something handmade. Or better yet, comment your most treasured handmade item, either something that you made yourself or you were gifted. And here's the thing, those 70,362 stitches aren't random. Every single one is part of a bigger picture. The colors I chose, they're the beauty of fall that I'm so drawn to. The motifs, they each represent parts of my story, from my Palestinian roots to my Panamanian heritage to where I am in the world right now. On the surface, it might just look like a beautiful dress, but to me, it's a map, a diary, and a love letter stitched into fabric. I'll give you just one example. The border representing swirls is a motif identified as malolo, a nod to this curly hair that is central to my own identity and a physical trait I definitely inherited from my Palestinian ancestors. But the rest, I'm saving that for another video, where I'll break down every design element, every choice, and the full story this thobe tells. So if you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. When I finally finished my thobe, I basically threw a party to celebrate. Okay, not exactly a party. I just happened to finish right before my private religious wedding ceremony, my keteb kitab. And yes, I absolutely told my wedding photographer to focus on my dress so that I could get both wedding photos and thobe photos at the same time. Highly recommend, by the way. I even convinced my now husband to celebrate our wedding anniversary on the reception date 2 months later, so that this day would always be dedicated to my thobe. Stream? Maybe. Worth it? Absolutely. And thank God I finished, because I did not have a backup outfit for this occasion. Now, I will repeat this until I am blue in the face. This process of making my own Palestinian thobe wasn't just about making something pretty. This dress holds the story of an entire season of my life, 2 years of patience, problem solving, and learning. And more than that, it's my way of carrying on a centuries-old Palestinian tradition, telling your story through your thobe. For generations, Palestinian women have stitched their lives into their dresses. The colors meant something. The motifs meant something. Each thobe was a map of the land, the plants, the seasons, and the personal history of its maker. When people see my thobe, they often say, "That's beautiful," or "I love how it represents Palestine." But the truth is, these dresses are more than just visual symbols. They are legacy. They are storytelling. They are a living archive of Palestine. The story of my thobe is one of a Palestinian Panamanian woman in the diaspora choosing to spend 234 plus hours reviving a tradition in her own way. But its legacy is proof that you can connect to your heritage, no matter where you are, no matter how your life looks, by stitching your story into something tangible. So, what did making my own thobe teach me? That patience isn't just waiting, it's engaging deeply with the process. That handmade work is worth more than we can ever truly price. That our ancestors weren't just embroidering, they were archiving history, one stitch at a time. And most importantly, that my story is worth telling, and so is yours. If you could stitch your story into a garment, what would it say? What colors would you choose? What legacy would you want to leave? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this inspired you, check out the links below to help you start your own journey, wherever you are right now. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so we can keep documenting our stories through tatreez together. Until next time.